Right now, millions of Americans are sitting on the edge of their seats, refreshing their bank apps and desperately searching for updates. Why? Because after months of political deadlock and economic uncertainty, a breakthrough has finally emerged in Washington. Late last night, key congressional leaders reached a historic agreement that could put $2,000 in direct payments into your bank account far sooner than anyone expected. But here's what makes this round of stimulus different and why you need to pay extremely close attention. Unlike previous payments, this one comes with specific eligibility requirements that could either maximize your payment or leave you with nothing. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down exactly when these checks will hit your account, who qualifies, and most importantly the 3 critical steps you need to take right now to ensure you don't miss out on your full payment. Before we dive into these game-changing details, take a quick second to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let me start with the news everyone's been waiting for. The first wave of $2,000 stimulus payments is scheduled to begin rolling out as early as December 15, 2025. Treasury Department officials confirmed this timeline just hours ago, emphasizing that direct deposit recipients will be first in line. But here's where things get interesting and why you can't afford to wait around passively. This stimulus package isn't just a simple repeat of previous payments. The qualification criteria have been completely revamped, and the income thresholds have shifted significantly. For single filers, the full $2,000 payment will be available to those earning up to $75,000 annually. But here's the crucial detail many are missing. There's a new graduated phase-out system that could actually benefit those making up to $95,000, a major departure from previous cutoffs. Think about this for a moment. How many Americans fall into this expanded eligibility bracket? The numbers are staggering. According to recent census data, this change could mean an additional 20 million Americans who were previously excluded might now qualify for at least a partial payment. But that's just the beginning of the changes you need to understand. For married couples filing jointly, the threshold starts at $150,000 for the full payment, with a gradual phase-out up to $190,000. And if you have dependents? This is where the new package gets really interesting. Each qualifying dependent, regardless of age, could add an additional $500 to your payment. Yes, you heard that right. College students, elderly dependents, and children of all ages could now qualify. But here's the catch that most people aren't talking about yet. The IRS will be using your most recent tax return to determine eligibility. This means your 2024 tax return if you filed it, or your 2023 return if you haven't. Think about how your income might have changed between then and now. This detail could be the difference between receiving the full amount or nothing at all. Now, let's talk about timing, because this is where things get really critical. The Treasury has outlined a specific rollout schedule, and understanding it could help you better plan your finances. The first phase, starting December 15, will prioritize direct deposit recipients who've previously received federal payments this way. But don't worry if you're not in this group. I'll explain all the phases in detail. Phase 1 will target approximately 80 million Americans with direct deposit information already on file with the IRS. These lucky first recipients could see their payments post within 24-48 hours of the initial rollout. The second phase, beginning approximately 1 week later, will focus on Social Security beneficiaries and other federal benefit recipients who have direct deposit information on file. But here's where it gets interesting and why you might want to take action sooner rather than later. The third phase, which includes paper check recipients, won't begin until early January 2026. And based on previous stimulus rollouts, these physical checks could take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks to arrive, depending on your geographic location and other factors. What many people don't realize is that there's still time to potentially move yourself up in this queue. The IRS has reopened their direct deposit information portal, giving you a narrow window to provide or update your banking details. But and this is crucial, this portal will only remain open for the next 72 hours. Miss this window, and you might be stuck waiting for a paper check well into 2026. Let's talk about another aspect that's flying under the radar: the impact of recent life changes on your eligibility. Had a baby in 2025? Got married? Divorced? Your situation might be different from what the IRS has on record, and this could significantly affect your payment amount. The good news is that there's a process for addressing these changes, but you need to act quickly. Something else that's particularly relevant for 2025, the payment will not be counted as taxable income for your 2025 tax return. However, and this is a detail that's causing considerable confusion, any additional payments you qualify for based on 2025 life changes will be handled through your 2025 tax return filed in 2026. This means some families might actually receive two payments, one based on their previous tax return and an additional amount when they file their 2025 taxes. Now, let's address a question that's probably burning in your mind. What if I don't qualify based on my previous tax return but my income has dropped significantly in 2025? This is where the recovery rebate credit comes into play, and it's absolutely crucial to understand how it works. The recovery rebate credit will be available on your 2025 tax return, allowing you to claim the stimulus payment if your 2025 income qualifies you, even if your previous return didn't. This could be a lifeline for many Americans who experienced income changes during the year. But here's the catch, you'll need to wait until you file your 2025 taxes to receive this credit. Let's pause for a moment and consider the bigger picture. Why is this stimulus package happening now? The answer lies in recent economic indicators that many mainstream media outlets aren't discussing. Inflation rates have finally shown consistent decline, giving lawmakers more flexibility to provide direct aid without fears of overheating the economy. But there's more to this story that directly affects when and how you'll receive your payment. The timing of this package is particularly significant because it coincides with several other major economic initiatives. For instance, many states are rolling out their own supplemental stimulus programs. If you live in one of these states, you might be eligible for additional payments on top of the federal stimulus. But the interaction between state and federal programs is complex, and you'll want to understand exactly how this affects your total benefit. Here's something that might surprise you. The new stimulus package includes a little-known provision for expedited payments to certain groups. Veterans, disabled Americans, and low-income seniors might be eligible for priority processing. But you'll need to verify your status through the proper channels to take advantage of this provision. The payment method is another crucial detail that could affect your timing. While direct deposit is the fastest option, some Americans will receive their payments through Economic Impact Payment (EIP) cards. These are prepaid debit cards that will be mailed to eligible recipients who don't have banking information on file with the IRS. But here's what you need to know about EIP cards: they're not the same as previous stimulus payment cards, and you'll need to activate them differently. Let's talk about what happens if you don't receive your payment when expected. The IRS has established a new tracking system that's more sophisticated than previous versions. You'll be able to monitor your payment status in real time, but the system has some quirks you need to understand. For instance, status updates only occur once per day, usually overnight, so checking multiple times per day won't give you new information. Here's another critical point that's often overlooked. If you've moved since your last tax return, you need to update your address immediately. The IRS has specific procedures for address changes, and following them incorrectly could delay your payment significantly. The good news is that you can update your address online, but the process must be completed correctly to avoid delays. Something else to consider: if you share custody of children or have recently divorced, the stimulus payment situation becomes more complex. The parent who claimed the child on their most recent tax return will generally receive the dependent payment. However, there are provisions for parents who alternate years claiming dependents. Understanding these rules could affect both the timing and amount of your payment. Now, let's address a concern many people have: what if you receive more or less than you're entitled to? The IRS has stated that they won't require repayment if you receive too much due to their error. However, if you receive less than you're eligible for, you'll need to claim the difference on your 2025 tax return. This is why keeping detailed records of any payments you receive is crucial. The payment rollout also includes special provisions for non-filers, people who aren't required to file tax returns due to low income. A separate portal will be available for these individuals to claim their payments, but the timeline for this portal's launch is slightly different from the main rollout schedule. Here's something that might affect your planning: the stimulus payments are protected from garnishment by private creditors and debt collectors. However, they can still be garnished for child support arrears. If you're behind on child support, you should expect your payment to be reduced or eliminated to cover these obligations. As we approach the conclusion, Let's recap the most crucial points. The first payments will begin December 15th, 2025, with direct deposit recipients receiving funds first. The income thresholds have been adjusted, potentially making more people eligible. And there are specific steps you can take right now to ensure you receive your payment as quickly as possible. Remember that information about these payments is constantly evolving. More details are emerging daily, and staying informed is crucial. That's why I'll be updating this channel regularly with the latest information as it becomes available. Before you go, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this stimulus package. Do you think the expanded eligibility criteria are fair? When do you expect to receive your payment? Share your situation in the comments below. Your experience could help other viewers better understand what to expect. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe to stay updated on all the latest stimulus payment news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.